and when are we getting the X-Men?
I cannot tell you that.
Okay, back to She-Hulk.
Bitch, are you improving?
Welcome back, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Marvel recently canceled the She-Hulk TV show and replaced her on their official banner, all the branding, with Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. I'm sure he'll be joking about this during Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. Something about being the only one allowed to break the fourth wall the way that they do. It's not personal, it's business. But there are a couple reasons why Marvel did this so suddenly, like why they wiped She-Hulk off the internet, so to speak. And it does say a lot about the future of Marvel and the characters, both Deadpool and She-Hulk, because it is a rare example of them hyping up such a brand new character so much the last couple years, then turning around about face, never talking about She-Hulk again, and removing her from all their branding quietly, hoping that nobody would notice.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Tatiana Maslany, the actress who plays She-Hulk, recently explained what's been going on behind the scenes at Marvel, and I saw a ton of you asking about She-Hulk deleted scenes in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'll explain what was going on with that, but if you hadn't noticed, the past couple years, they've had She-Hulk in the upper right-hand corner of their banner, their branding, all the official banners that they had. Without making any announcements, all of a sudden the last couple weeks, they just changed it to this new one with Deadpool photoshopped over her stepping out of a portal to stand next to Loki and Yelena Belova. Totally not weird of them to do that instead of just resizing the character so they didn't have to Photoshop over She-Hulk and they just kept everybody from Marvel Phase 4 up there in the banner. But this real stealth move on their part to get rid of her also coincided with them canceling the She-Hulk TV show, according to Tatiana Maslany, making it seem like Marvel does not plan to use the character at all in the future. They're not completely done with She-Hulk forever, or Tatiana Maslany forever, but for the foreseeable future. Like, this is pretty damning evidence that they're not going to do anything with She-Hulk anytime soon. As much as it might seem like this is because of all the backlash online recently with the character, them getting rid of She-Hulk in such a fast and complete way, you have to picture Deadpool making a joke about this behind the scenes just because he's so meta when it comes to Disney and Kevin Feige references. We actually call a company doing this with a property or TV show or a character Zaslabbing because they did it so much at Warner Brothers. They literally took TV shows and movies that they'd already made that were on HBO Max and just pulled them off the internet. So the only way you could actually watch them now is by pirating. Disney has done that with a couple things, but not as much as HBO and none of the Marvel stuff yet. But one of the first big reasons why Marvel replaced She-Hulk with Deadpool and wiped her off the branding, she literally mentions in the clip that I put at the beginning of this, it's why I put it at the beginning of this, because they're so hyped up on introducing the X-Men. The X-Men are really like the future of Marvel. In context, that was the whole reason why they had that joke in the She-Hulk finale, because everyone was like, come on, where's the X-Men? Show us the X-Men. Just tell us, when are we going to get more X-Men stuff? Even the She-Hulk character wanted to see more X-Men more than she wanted to see her own TV show. Kevin Feige literally just did a glorified X-Men hype session in his recent presentation where he said they're using Avengers 6 Secret Wars to start an X-Men era of movies and TV shows at Marvel. They're focusing on way more brand new X-Men stuff, way less of the characters and the stuff they've been doing the past several years. Deadpool and Wolverine was meant to be the beginning of that. And you don't need to be a genius or even understand Marvel that much to understand sort of the Moneyball situation that brands like this work on, where they try to present their most popular characters, pushing them to the forefront and trying to get rid of the lesser popular characters. Marvel just revealed that in the couple weeks that Deadpool and Wolverine has been on Disney+, it beat out Avengers Endgame in its lifetime run on Disney+, the last couple years, to be the most watched Marvel thing ever on Disney+. Meaning that more people subscribed to and started paying for Disney Plus just in the last couple weeks than subscribed to Disney Plus for any other Marvel reason ever. Whereas She-Hulk mostly caused a ton of people to cancel their Disney Plus, shrinking their numbers, and here's the other real big reason too, talk about Moneyball of it all. She-Hulk cost them more money to make than it cost them to make Deadpool and Wolverine, if you can believe it. Doesn't that sound crazy when you think about it? Apparently, they went way over the reported public budget of $225 million. That is a lot of money for a TV show. For example, that's almost double the budget of something like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. And remember, that $225 million was the figure they reported publicly, meaning that they went over that budget, spending even more money. So you just have to imagine there's an accountant somewhere at Marvel that just blew his top, and Kevin Feige was like, yeah, sorry, we can't spend that kind of money on TV series. No go, no more. Deadpool and Wolverine's budget was closer to $200 million, so like I said, cost less, and Marvel has a much better system for actually making their money back on the theatrical movies like the big event movies than it does on actual Disney Plus stuff. So even in cases like the last couple years where they have movies that drastically underperform, like the Marvels for instance, they still have a way to actually make their money back on that eventually, whereas they do not with the Disney Plus stuff. So that's basically like $225, $230 million that they just threw away. Typically when you hear about stuff costing them more than $200 million, you're talking about like Spider-Man movies. When it comes to Marvel TV series, Kevin Feige said initially when they started doing WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like way back early era Disney Plus, the initial Phase 4 TV shows, they wanted the budget for each of the Marvel Disney Plus shows to be about $150 million. That's the same budget if it's 6 episodes or 9 episodes like WandaVision. If you or your friends have ever complained about why they only do 6 episodes for some series, like why so few, or why are they only doing 9 episodes, why are episodes only 30 minutes long, like why is it so short, it's all because of budget, them just dividing that $150 million amongst 6 episodes or spreading it across 9 episodes. But then apparently you get to stuff like She-Hulk and they wind up spending way more than that, which they obviously do not like. They legit made a joke about this phenomenon during the She-Hulk finale when she broke the 4th wall and the 5th wall and like literally climbed out of her show on Disney Plus and began talking directly to the writers and Kevin Feige in real life. He asked her to change her form back to human off screen so that they could save money on the visual effects. Like, no, we don't have money in the budget. Just change off screen and then come back.
But you must first transform back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
Oh, sure.
But wait until the camera is off you. The visual effects team has moved on to another project.
And it sounds like She-Hulk was one of those shows that Marvel greenlit early on to make as many green puns as possible because we're talking about Hulks here. Early on when they only cared about boosting their subscriber numbers for Disney Plus. Like this is very early era Disney Plus, rolling out as much content as possible, as many shows as possible. You have to imagine Bob Chapek, Bob Iger going to them and just saying, can you give us like 10 new Marvel shows this year? And that's why for a little while, it seemed like everybody and their sister was getting their own Disney Plus Marvel show. Like, if you ever wondered why they picked certain characters to get their own shows, this was during an early era of Disney Plus, pre-pandemic, when all this stuff was getting greenlit, and they just needed as many shows as possible. And it just sounds like they were way off on their budget estimates for what She-Hulk was going to cost. Like, in order to bring the show in on budget, you'd have to have a TV show where they never change into the Hulk, which would give people a whole other reason to get pissed off about. One of the other biggest complaints about the She-Hulk series was the overall questionable CG. Like, it seemed like they needed a lot more time to actually polish that, which would have cost them way more money. Remember, this all goes back to their original problem of trying to get too much stuff out too quickly. This led to a lot of quality control issues just in general for all the TV shows and all the movies. Kevin Feige only has so much time in the day and so many movies that he can actually manage, so many TV shows that he can help manage. He wound up having to delegate to a lot of his lieutenants, and that just did not work out. You might have heard recently about a bunch of people at Marvel, like a bunch of producers that were working on those shows originally, were actually the movie people, and a lot of them have since been fired. Last year, then, Marvel essentially hit the pause button, like Kevin Feige was like, okay, let's slow our roll on all this stuff, give us more time to do quality control. That was why Deadpool and Wolverine was the only movie they released this year, and I think it actually paid off for them. Like, they spent the extra time and energy that they had that they weren't spending on other stuff for the most part, and focused on making Deadpool and Wolverine as good as it could possibly be. And it is now the 7th highest earning comic book movie of any kind from history from any studio. One of the other issues I think Marvel ran into with the She-Hulk series just in general is that Tatiana Maslany was a fantastic actress if you've seen any of her other stuff, but I think they intended the show to be mostly for your casual fans, and a lot of casual fans had never read a She-Hulk comic book before and didn't know that the character was written so comedically, and they went into it expecting something more like the Incredible Hulk. Like way darker, more traditional Hulk. So when she debuted, they started treating her more like Deadpool with all the fourth wall breaking, making fun of all the tropes in the MCU, even using a lot of shorthand during their initial episodes with the Mark Ruffalo Bruce Banner Hulk, like see how quickly she learns how to handle all this stuff, whereas it took Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner Hulk many movies, many phases to actually get through that stuff. It just didn't land with a lot of the fans the way that I think Marvel hoped it would. And I don't think any of that was Tatiana Maslany's fault. I think it was all just about the material she was given. There's a ton of Hulk story happening in Captain America 4, Brave New World, but I don't think that she's actually going to be in that movie. But there is a lot of Hulk-related stuff happening in the MCU the next couple of years. Thunderbolt Ross is supposed to become Red Hulk during Captain America 4. They're bringing back Liv Tyler's Betty Ross from the Incredible Hulk movie because that is MCU, even though it was Edward Norton playing the character. Reportedly, that Scar Son of Hulk teaser at the end of the She-Hulk finale was actually intended to set up the next solo Hulk movie, and Marvel's still working on getting the rights worked out with Universal, like their lawyers are still in the middle of this ongoing wrestling match with each other, trying to decide who's going to make the next Hulk movie. Also probably going to use Deadpool to clown on her just a little bit too, with the fact they both break the fourth wall like this in their comics. In one of the other boons of Deadpool and Wolverine, because it was so popular bringing back Hugh Jackman as a Wolverine, not the original Wolverine, but a Wolverine in the yellow costume. You remember the Hulk vs. Wolverine scene in that movie? Apparently they're going to be doing a much bigger movie based on that. No idea when they'll release it, but they are working on a Wolverine vs. Hulk movie. The other big Hulk-related movie stuff that's going on in the background, too, is them introducing the Sentry character during the Thunderbolts movie, and there's the whole idea of Sentry versus Hulk in World War Hulk, so it does sound like they also want to try and do a World War Hulk-based storyline in the future as well, too. So yes, we will probably see Tatiana Maslany come back as her She-Hulk character, but not for a good long while, and just as part of this larger Hulk-related stuff in the next several years, but a lot of that won't happen till well after Secret Wars. When it comes to all the talk of She-Hulk deleted scenes in Deadpool and Wolverine, got so many questions about this, I was kind of confused. She was never actually supposed to be in the movie. I think the reason why people thought that she was in the movie and there were deleted scenes was because of a podcast that Tatiana Maslany did recently where she was joking about being cut out of Deadpool and Wolverine, when really she was just being sarcastic about Marvel cutting her out of Deadpool and Wolverine. So like there was no actual She-Hulk that was going to be in that movie at any point. But at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to see, Marvel looking at the numbers behind the scenes, Deadpool and Wolverine so much more vastly popular than any other thing that they've done the last couple of years. Of course they're going to put him on their branding banner. But I do think it's kind of funny that they have like Scarlet Witch here and she's supposed to be dead in the MCU and they still left her on the banner, but not She-Hulk, who's supposed to still be alive. Speaking of Marvel hyping up their X-Men stuff in the future, we are going to get some new X-Men stuff during What If Season 3, in addition to a bunch of other returning characters like the Eternals, the Celestials, so I'll be doing episode videos for that in December when they start. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. I just did that big Deadpool 4 video. Click here to learn what's going on with that movie, and click here for all those Deadpool and Wolverine deleted scenes and alternate endings. Thank you so much for watching, and everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving.